No, it's not Gabby. It's Gabrielle. Is it Gabrielle? Yes. I think it's English. I think she's English. Gabrielle. It's the weather.
Fill up these seats.
They're seeing it.
It might snow.
It's not raining or
Might
snowing.
rain or snow.
I know. I tell you, people don't do well with weather change.
Yes, I never
Yes.
understood that. 'Cause if I want to go somewhere, I just go.
I know, but a lot of people don't.
Rain, snow, fog, sleet, I don't care. No, I really want to go. I just go.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't do that. They're very close.
So we got a couple more there.
Where's Joyce? There she is.
I know, I like to get that done early. Friend request. Do you have requests?
Another big sheet.
She had a birthday yesterday.
I know. I wish her happy birthday.
Birthday yesterday.
She wanted to tell me how old she is. She thought she's old, but I explained to her that she is like less than half my age.
Did she get a chocolate bar? Did she get, yes, she actually got chocolate chips. A special kind. I got her a bag of those.
We had a little party.
Yes, we had a party. We had a keto cake.
I sent to my
Oh,
daughter the
keto
other
cake.
day.
K-E-T-O, not A-K-I-D-O.
Gosh, no. And we played cards.
It's not
I've
hard.
heard no.
Rummy. I haven't played that in years. Did you win?
And we're gonna,
Did they let you win for your
They did. Well, one of them
you
went.
won one, and Danny won the other.
Okay.
And poor mom.
Did your
play
other
cornhole.
daughter?
No, there, she's in Philadelphia. She's in Philadelphia. Yeah, she's in a workshop, actually. Fred just went to Philadelphia for his high school reunion.
Oh, really?
Participated in pre-reunion Friday night and then Saturday morning I had COVID.
Sounds good.
Saturday night, I guess.
Saturday morning I had
Cool.
COVID, so
So you missed.
I missed the big event.
Oh, jeez. You did see some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you give them a gift of COVID and?
Oh, gosh.
They claim nobody
All right,
is
good.
getting it, so
Good.
that's.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like you had it real serious. So that's good. Sometimes it's just a cold.
That's basically what it was.
And silence fell over the room, so I thought it was time to start. Welcome everyone to our Sunday service here at the Fellowship. Welcome virtual watchers. We have quite a few online watching, so welcome to everyone. And we're going to sing our song, Prayer of the Child of Love. So please stand. It should be in the front of your songbook.
That's a good song.
In every way,
seats. And if you have someone you'd like for us to pray it jointly together for today, please list them on the card and just drop that in the basket as the collection basket comes around. Just a reminder. So let us begin with our opening meditation. I want to invite everyone to just close your eyes and just feel the relaxation of just closing your eyes and seeing that darkness. And let's take 2 deep breaths together. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. As we go within, we shift away from our human ego thinking, planning, and doing, busyness, to an awareness of the one divine presence, creative intelligence, our source, God, whatever label resonates for you. The energy of all that is, that we live, move, and have our being in. In this connection, we are aware of our true nature. Not a separate self, alone, but one in union and harmony with love itself. In these moments, may our collective energy be a beacon of love and light, seen, felt, and experienced around the planet, opening hearts to the healing energy of love. We are so grateful for each other, for our fellowship community, for this time together. So grateful to know from deep, deep within that all truly is well. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. Okay, we're going to stand up and sing another song, and following that song, we'll greet each other. Please turn to page 19. The title is I Know.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
So now I want to introduce our very, very special music with a very beautiful voice. Let's give a warm welcome to Linda Abar.
I'm going to sing a slightly modified Alanis Morissette tune called Thank You. How about getting off these antibiotics? How about stopping eating when I am full? How about them transparent dangling carrots? How about that ever elusive kudo? Thank you, India. Thank you, terror. Thank you, disillusionment. Thank you, frailty. Thank you, consequence. Thank you, silence. How about me not taking the blame for everything? How about us enjoying the moment for once? How about how good it feels to finally forgive you? How about breathing it all one at a time? Thank you, India. Thank you, terror. Thank you, disillusionment. Thank you, frailty. Thank you, consequence. Thank you, silence. The moment I let go of it was the moment I got more than I could imagine. The moment I jumped off of it was the moment I touched down. How about no longer being masochistic? How about remembering our divinity? How about unabashedly bawling your eyes out? How about not equating death with ceasing? Thank you, India. Thank you, Providence. Thank you, disillusionment. Thank you, clarity. Thank you, nothingness. Thank you, silence. Thank you, Linda. So good to remember that all of those experiences are have blessings and gifts. Thank you. And this is the time in our service when we stop and really fill our hearts with gratitude. And we do this every Sunday.
and we say pretty much the same words together every Sunday, but it's really important that we don't gloss over it because it's such an important time for us as individuals and for us as our fellowship community. So I invite you now to go within again and again fill your heart up with love. Fill it up with joy and gratitude and appreciation as we give thanks for all the blessings and abundance in our lives, and give thanks to all of those who give so generously to the fellowship. So as you are getting your financial gift ready, or if you donate online, please hold the fellowship in consciousness and vision it as a thriving and flourishing community. And John is going to go ahead and go around with the basket. Please remember to put your prayer request in there. And we'll just use this time to feel gratitude. And as John finishes up, I invite you to say with me the blessing of the tithes and offerings on your bulletin. The light of divine love shines eternally, blessing and multiplying our tithes and offerings. I joyously give, knowing I always have enough to share and to spare. And in this basket, we have names of beautiful beings that you would like to pray for today. So let's hold every name, every situation and condition close to our hearts and surround them with love. Embrace them with love. Together we are that shining beacon of light and love that finds its way into the hearts of those who need healing and comfort, help and safety. So just take a moment to call those names to mind, or anyone else you would like to add. And we say for everyone in this basket and everyone in our community and in our world, we know that all is well. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. One more fellowship song. If you'd like to, please turn to page 1, and we'll sing The Essence of Our Being in Spirit. Please stand.
The Spirit of love unites us all. You can call it out, wisdom, peace, or love, Alpha and Omega, it's there if we but call. The essence of our being, the Spirit, the source of life for all. We are all connected, our common thread is love, our spiritual expression, our source, our all in all. The essence of our being is spirit, the spirit of love unites us all. You can call it Allah, wisdom, peace, or love, Alpha and Omega, it's there if we but call. The essence of our being is spirit, the spirit, the source of life for all. We are all connected, our common thread is love, our spiritual expression, our source, our all in all.
Thank you. Please be seated. I think all of us really want to say thank you to those who are out there singing harmonies. It sounds so good, and it really does. It really adds to our beautiful songs. Now is the time in our service when I'm always happy to introduce our speaker for today. His name is Craig Harvey. He's been with us before, and he came in walking with 2 big sacks. I think that he said it's props, so I don't know quite what we're in for, but it looks like it could be fun there. So let's please give him a warm welcome.
Okay, I think I only need 1 bag of props for this, but I was getting carried away when I was thinking about what I might do. It's good to be back. Good afternoon. And the title of my talk is Spirits in a Material World. Spirits being us. Well, I'll get into that. My background, what led to this lifetime long whatever. I grew up raised Catholic. It didn't really stick. I was pretty much materialistic going into college in science and engineering sort of stuff. And then in college, one of my older brothers at one point sent me as a gift a few Carlos Castaneda books, and that together with some recreational mind-altering substances on occasion started to open me up to the possibility that maybe there's more to life than just blood and bones and nerve cells and all that. Maybe there's energetics outside of our bodies and ways to communicate besides our voice and stuff like that. And then after college I got more into that stuff and some personal experiences and helping others have experiences and all sorts of fun stuff. So I want to start off with a couple definitions. None of this is new to any of you here, I'm sure, but I found it interesting to look at spirit. And this is from Webster, number 1, an animating or vital principle held to give life to physical organisms and organizations. And that resonates with me. It's like, okay, but then they go on to definition 2, a supernatural being or essence like the Holy Spirit or soul, although for me soul is basically the same as spirit. It's like, except our culture tends to think of soul as something we have, and I look at it as, wait, soul is who I am. It is, I am spirit, I am soul, I am the inanimate, the non-physical being that is conscious, that perceives stuff through the body and sometimes, probably regardless of the body, just direct experience and perception, and is the creative force that animates the body and decides things to say with the help of all the computing machinery inside the brain and all that. Of course, then there are other definitions get into like a malevolent being that enters and possesses a human being. Although I don't see why it has to be malevolent if spirit can be malevolent or benevolent, I figure. Why not? And then the other definitions of spirit, you get into alcohol kind of things, which are pretty irrelevant to this talk. God is another word that's really interesting. And I should mention, this is all just my opinions, and it might change tomorrow. And you are welcome to have differing opinions and argue with me afterward if you want. So I like the first definition, God, the supreme or ultimate reality. That seems like it pretty much covers everything. But then somehow they get from that to 1A, the being perfect in power, wisdom, and goodness, who is worshipped, as in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism, as creator and ruler of the universe. Now that sounds much more limited to me. It's like, okay, first we go from ultimate reality, and then we go to, just the good stuff. And you're supposed to worship this thing, and it rules over all of us. It's like, anyway, I don't care for that definition, but I know that's a pretty common sort of definition. I figure if God is just all the good stuff, then there's got to be something bigger that includes all the not so good stuff. Even if the not so good stuff has as its core good stuff that gets in conflict with each other or something. So that's why I like the term all that is. It's like, okay, that's got to include everything, no matter good, bad, indifferent. Yeah. And I was hoping to get into some of physics, quantum physics kind of stuff as part of this talk. Probably not time for that, but in researching it, I came across these terms, quantum mind and quantum consciousness. And as far as I can tell, that's sort of the physicist's term for God, or spirit, or something in between those two. Just thought I'd throw that out. It sounds real, like I know what I'm talking about if I say quantum, whatever. So, what is spirit? What is a human being in connection with spirit? Since it's like spirit, if spirit is just the non-physical part, the part that is not matter, not energy field, and doesn't even have any really location in time or space except if one decides to locate oneself in a certain time and space, then what is the rest of the human being? Obviously we have the matter sort of stuff, the flesh, the bones, the blood, all the neurons, the brain, and I would even include whatever energy field is contained or generated by all that in the body and around the body, because that energy is matter, they're interchangeable, E equals mc squared, it's all basic material universe stuff. So you got the spirit and you got the body, but then I think there's this sort of intermediate stuff that might be sort of energetic forms, but it's like all the sticky notes attached to us. I mean, the first one is probably like our identity as a human being, okay? Human being, male, white, located in Michigan, and born of my parents. That's sort of an initial sort of layer of identity that gets plastered on top of the spirit, or that the spirit chooses to take on. That's another whole thing. Is if we're spirit, then that I think it answers some questions that I tend to have in my life. Is like, okay, what is like past lives and future lives? How can that be? And if you say, well, I'm spirit, so of course it's no problem. You just spirit hops from one body to the other when it's convenient. And but then it raises other questions like, well, how does it do that? Does it have a choice in, what body to take on, or when to do it, whether to do it, and then there's all sorts of other interesting questions like, well, where do all these spirits come from? If you just look at humans, obviously the human population has grown a lot over its history. So is it a matter of are there different levels of spirit that are able to handle different types of bodies? Like a baby, tiny, ignorant spirit can handle an earthworm maybe, and then, of course, this gets into the Buddhist kind of thing of reincarnation. So you take on this challenge, and then you handle earthwormhood, and then you get better at that, and you say, I want to take on something really big like a mouse. And so the next time around, you choose or you're assigned a mouse body. I don't know. But these are the kind of questions that being a spirit raises in my mind anyway. All sorts of possibilities. What else? Okay, so labels. So there's the basic initial layer of identity, but then there's all sorts of beliefs we take on, we choose to take on, and then there's attitudes of, well, life sucks, life is good, God is handling everything, or God doesn't know what he's doing. She might know what she's doing, but he doesn't. And so we get into, you could think of it, the word spirit has to do with breath, if you look at where it came from. And so breath is what filled his balloon. And so it's just sort of a way to visualize the idea of spirit encased in identity of a green balloon. So that could be your sort of basic identity coming into life. I'm going to be a green balloon this life. Then what's all this other stuff I'm talking about, all the labels that get attached onto that? Well, I just happen to have an example. All these sticky notes. And this, okay, we got some attitudes. We got the world is unforgiving. We have people are just out for themselves. We have people mean well. Then we have some personal things like, okay, blonde, that's when I was really young. Beard, shy, mediator, smart, half Polish, musical, male, et cetera, and videographer. But then you get other stuff thrown in here, like any sort of diagnosis you've ever had from a doctor or anybody else. Microphone. So these are things that just get stuck, and this is just one thin layer of labels that get stuck onto our identity. But when you go through life, in reality, there's just labels and labels upon labels, layers of them, and it can weigh you down in some ways. And then we go and try to resolve some things that we don't like say, I don't know, stupid. There's one. So you say, well, wait a second. I've heard about affirmations. I'm going to deal with this painful inner feeling of being stupid. And maybe that came from some trauma or something. And so I'm going to resolve it by affirmations. And so we get affirmation sticky notes and pile them on top and try to cover up the ones that we don't like. I'm not saying affirmations can't be used productively, but I have a colleague. One thing I do these days is trauma counseling, and work with somebody who also does this stuff, and she has this term, what's it called? Frosting a turd. So, like, instead of dealing with a turd and resolving it and just whatever, it's like, okay, let's plaster some nice looking stuff over top of it. And that's how I think affirmations can work, or not really work in that case. Anyway, so that's my favorite visual. I had fun looking. Before I found the balloons in the dollar store, I found all these rubber balls of various types. That's what's over there. But then I found the balloons, which worked much better. But one ball I found, it's like, this is sort of hypothetical. What if you had a balloon, a way, some sort of identity or way of being that didn't let things you didn't want stick to it? And I found this cool little ball that has little sort of warts or something all over it. And sticky notes just don't stick to it. So I don't know how you would do that in real life, but I had fun noticing that and thinking of that. Must be time. Yeah, what else? I forgot to check the time. I want to touch on physics because, where does all this stuff come from? You know, it's like, okay, we have spirit, and whether there is one, I forgot that prop. So stuff. The general consensus these days is there's this Big Bang, right? And there's this minuscule bit of something that was infinitely dense, and then something happened to make it go boom, and for a while, many hundreds of thousands or millions of years, you had this just big fireball, and not even consolidated into atoms or anything. And then over millennia, that field of stuff, charged particles or whatever, started to coalesce into atoms and molecules. And one lecture I went to recently by some astrophysicist said that it was sort of like miso soup. If it had just been broth, then nothing would have happened. We wouldn't have a wonderful universe to play in. But it was more like miso soup with different densities in different places, and all due to quantum fluctuations. And those fluctuations resulted in the ability to form specific galaxies and planets and all that. And thus we have this wonderful game field that we can play on these days. But what gets me is, okay, what caused the Big Bang? And he actually tried to look at that, and it's all quantum fluctuations, and underneath the quantum fluctuations, it's gravitational wave fluctuations. Say, okay, but why? How? And so the way I like to look at it, since my attitude is spirit is primary, consciousness, spirit, whatever, at some level, how did it do this? And I get my just playful idea is, well, you get one, whether it's, call it God or whatever, some spirit, and then they somehow split off something, another spirit or part of themselves, just like humans do. We can have all sorts of interesting subparts within ourselves. Psychologists call it dissociative identity disorder, but even without any sort of disorder, you can still have different attitudes and viewpoints within yourself. And if you have a trauma, they can get split off really a bunch, and you can have fun stuff to play with in your own psyche for a therapist to play with. But so way back when, for the Big Bang, you have, say, two spiritual beings, and they just sort of, let's play with energy. We were talking about learning Qigong, getting certified in that. So it's just playing with energy. Let's see if can I push a little energy this way somehow, and create a little energy, some sort of force field, and push it back, and you get fluctuation. And then if you get enough fluctuations and they all hit at one time, then you get poof, big bang. That's my very simplified explanation for myself at this point of how we get the universe. And I do want to show you that. Did I bring that other prop? Yes, here we go. So I love this visualization stuff. So here we have a smaller being, but that makes it more easy to manipulate. So I'm sure you've all seen things like this be done by balloon artists. Here we have the one person being, but then part of them splits off and they're another one. And if it splits off enough, can it possibly become a whole separate being? Or if you go work on the separations, and yes, people can have not just one, but, and I'm not going to try to demonstrate it with a balloon, but you can have all sorts of beingnesses, entities, whatever, subpersonalities, all attached to one body. But if you find somebody to work with who can undo it, then, or help you undo it, then you get integrated again. Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say about working on this stuff. What I do, traumatic incident reduction, is part of applied metapsychology. I like to think of it as a way to help the person peel off layers of these things one at a time, and or the ones you don't want to peel off, but you just want to examine and rearrange and get familiar with and put them in an order you are comfortable with, instead of having it all just layer upon layer of stuff that's confusing and painful. So, oh, and of course, then we have the end of life. It's like, and you decide it's time, let go of the body. Ah! But then the spirit is, who knows where? It can be everywhere, because it's spirit, it's not matter. And I think with that, I'll say that hopefully that has been some fun food for thought. I certainly had fun thinking about it, and yeah. So thank you for listening. And I believe now I'm get to lead a few-minute meditation, right? So I'm going to suggest that you think of your life. If you want to take a notice on my prop here, the balloon, that there are little spaces between the sticky notes where there's no sticky notes. And just imagine, maybe close your eyes and relax. Just feel your seat. Just relax into that. Let go of stuff as much as you can, and imagine that you are just you, the spirit, in the balloon of your human existence. And yeah, there's all those sticky notes, the stuff that other people have labeled you with, and labels you've put on yourself and you've tried to get rid of and can't, and the good labels and the not so fun labels, cultural labels. It's all there, but just look for a speck of light where there aren't any sticky notes. Just looking out through all those identities. Imagine there's a spot you can look where there's no identities, no judgments, no nothing that you have to look through to see how things really are in the universe. Just rest in that. What does that look like? Does it feel a little lighter? Is it bright? What possibilities are there? If you don't have to think of all the way things are in this game of life that seems like it's the only way it has to be, what if none of that has to be the way our culture tells us through our whole life? What if we are not constrained by our bodies, by our identity as a human being, or as a male or a female, as a certain profession, or being good at something or lousy at something? What if none of that is relevant to who we really are? What would we choose to do in that case? What kind of world would we choose to create for ourselves, for our families, our communities? It's just wide open possibility for us as unfettered, unlabeled, creative beings. We get to create it and choose. Just rest in that for a moment. And take a couple more deep breaths. And see how much of that feeling, that vision you can hold on to as you come back here. Open your eyes and look around and realize that everybody else here is doing the same sort of thing. And realize that we are all unfettered, unlabeled human beings, spirit underneath it all, to do what we want and create the world that we want. So, thank you for playing with me today. And thank you for the music.
Thank you, Craig. We sing together on page 35, Our Thoughts, Our Prayers. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers, take charge of what you're saying. See the higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness,
Well, I was singing another song called Thank You. Except I wrote it. This came from a prayer that a friend would say, thank you for what's been given me, what's been taken away, and what's yet to come. And so I put it into a song. That's kind of what I do. Thank you for what's been given me and what's been taken away. Thank you for all that's come to pass and for what's yet to come. For by losing, I've learned to let go. From what's been given, I've learned to receive. From all that's past, I've learned to trust you. For what tomorrow may bring. Thank you for what's been given me and what's been taken away. Thank you for all that's come to pass and for what's yet to come. For by losing, I've learned to let go. From what's been given, I've learned to receive. From all that's past, I've learned to trust you. For what tomorrow may bring. To give me what I need. To grow into my next state of being. To grow, it's the nature of healing. To Thank you for what's been given me and what's been taken away.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Linda and Corey, for your beautiful music, as always. And thank you, Craig, for giving us some things to really think about and present it in such a fun, playful way. Love the ball with the spoon with the sticky notes. That's a perfect analogy. And thank you to all of you for being here this afternoon, and thank you to the virtual watchers as well. I just have a few announcements. We have a sound bath session coming up on Thursday the 17th and Friday the 18th. Thursday is in person, Friday is online, both of those at 6:30 at the fellowship office. And then please join us by coming out to the alternative holiday sale, either Friday the 18th in the evening or sometime during the day on Saturday the 19th. Pardon?
Death Cafe.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And that's at the Edgewood United Church of Christ in East Lansing. You have all the information on it in your e-announcements. And also, the Death Cafe is, even though we're at the alternative holiday sale, Julie will be doing the Death Cafe on Saturday the 19th at 2 at the office. And don't forget the famous fellowship potluck on November 27th. So we'll look forward to that again. And now let's please join together in our peace circle and our closing blessing.
Oh, Mary.
Let Amen.